This week we're talking about Word Chapter 4. So we're finished now with Word. This will be our last chapter. And so you'll also have what they call an SLO assessment. So you'll be creating a flyer. It can be about whatever you would like it to be. And you just have to make sure it follows the requirements that are listed for you in the instructions. And then you'll just go ahead once you finish it. You'll save that Word document. You'll just go ahead and submit it just like you've been doing. So Chapter 4 is collaboration, research, communicating, and producing professional papers. So some of this is applicable to on the job. Certain jobs you have to write reports for, but you also, of course, in school. And we write reports using two main styles in school usually, MLA format and what is called the APA format. There's many other types of formats out there that you can use to write papers, and to cite your sources. So one you might have heard of possibly is called Chicago. There's another one called Turabian. There's several other formats out there, and what that governs is how the paper is laid out itself, if the title page, if it has one or not. For example, MLA, you don't have a title page, but APA you do. So it gives that also how the references are listed. And so it's important that we list our references. One, because obviously you don't want your instructor to think that you what did what they call plagiarism, which means that you use someone else's words without giving the credit. So that's really important that you cite your sources, but also because we would hope that our readers maybe would want to go back and maybe see what it was that you wrote about. Particularly maybe if you're writing in a more of a professional sense, or as you go on in school and you write, master's theses, doctoral theses, those, are archived, and maybe someone else someday would like to go back and read your original research. So it's important to be able to list your sources. So that's what we're talking about this week. Is we want to use a writing style. So use a writing style and to acknowledge sources. I've already mentioned some of this already, but you have what is called a style manual. And so that is a writing style guide. A style manual is a guide in a particular writing style outlining required rules and conventions required in the preparation of papers. And again, that can be the formatting of it, the sources, etc. So you have the MLA format, which stands for the Modern Language Association. And again, that's used a lot in your English classes. APA, which is done by the American Psychological Association. So a lot of your psychology classes will require APA. They might also, maybe business classes might ask for APA possibly. There's a Chicago Manual of Style, and then Turabian. There's different, and there's several others out there as well. So you can look at the style manual in the library. They have them there for you to use. You can ask any of the librarians, and they can help you to find things. And of course, now, because we're in this remote modality, if you are asked to write a paper for one of your classes, you can go on the library website. You can chat with a librarian. You can also download some various sheets that they have that list how you would write your sources for different things. So now remember that a source is either a publication, it could be a person, or a media item that you consulted in the preparation of your paper and that you're giving credit. So it could be either a journal article, a book, anything like that. It could also be maybe maybe you looked up something and somebody put out a YouTube video. So you want to, you got information from a YouTube video, or you got information from maybe a DVD or something like that. You'd want to sort. It could also be from a person. Maybe you interviewed somebody about something. Maybe they're an expert in a certain topic, or you're writing a paper and it was about something that they did. You would cite the interview that you had with that person. So you need to do that. Now, plagiarizing is the act of using and documenting the works of others as your own. And plagiarizing, it could be words, so the written word, it could be their ideas, it could also be using images, anything without citing where it came from and then taking and making it appear that it's your own. And I know, especially because we're in this online environment, I know it can be very tempting to feel like, oh, Mr. Abbott's never going to know if I turn in someone else's work as my own, or my English teacher's not going to know that I found this article online, this paper online that someone else wrote. But they do. And of course, some of your teachers use a thing, they use Turnitin, which keeps a database of all these different papers and all these different things. And to try to detect that. But teachers, I think they have a kind of an innate sense to kind of their spidey senses kind of go up and they figure out that you're doing it. So just don't do it. And again, I mean, that can lead to you being expelled from the college, but receiving an F on the assignment. We have, and I give you the policy in the one of the discussions I'm having you talk about that a little bit. Now, a citation is a brief parenthetical reference that's placed at the end of the sentence or paragraph. So you cite a sentence, you cite a paragraph, you have what's called a parenthetical citation. Usually it's the author's name followed with a comma and the page number. That could vary depending upon, and so we'll see that. Now, a bibliography, also called a works cited page. So for MLA, it's called a works cited page. APA, I believe it is a bibliography. So those is a list of your sources cited, consulted by the author in his or her work. A bibliography or works cited page considered synonymous in terms of working in Word. So they don't differentiate that. But just realize you have that goes at the end of the document. And again, that's so that anybody they can see what you found out and where you found your information. Now, regardless of the writing style used, most research papers share common formatting features, such as that the text for the paragraphs is aligned on the left-hand side. Usually, they're double spaced, the lines of your text. Usually, you have no paragraph spacing before and after. So we'll take a look at that, because sometimes you'll indent the first line of your body paragraphs a half inch. So we'll see that. You have to set your top and bottom, left and right, to 1 inch, which if you're using a version, I believe after like 2010 of Word, that's the default setting, is 1 inch all the way around. So that's easy, but you just want to make sure to check that. Separate sentences by only one space. And that's a bad habit of mine. I'm used to always putting two spaces uh, after sentences, but you only use one space. You'd use a serif font such as Times New Roman at 12-point size. So technically, like for MLA, you can use any font you want, but the one that they usually ask you for is Times New Roman. And that's found on any computer, so that's a good thing. I mean, to use Times New Roman, but again, that's no longer the default in Word, so you're probably okay with leaving it. But I think most teachers, I think, understand that now any font but a serif font, and those are the ones that have little tails at the end. But Times New Roman's good. I would just use that. Create a right-aligned header, including the page number, positioned 1/2 inch from the top of the page. So for example, MLA, it would be last name and then the page number. So for me, it would be Abbott and then Abbott 1, Abbott 2, Abbott 3 at the top. APA, it's a little bit different. And then I think it is APA. They have what's called a running head. So it's a little bit different. So you'll just have to, find out about that in particular. So when an instructor assigns a paper, you'll need to find out what writing style guide should be followed. They'll usually tell you that. You can select the required guide when writing the paper in Word. To select a style, you can click on the style arrow under the citations and bibliography group in the references tab, and you can select your style. So if we see here you have your ribbon, you're going to be under the references tab, and then right here under the citations and bibliography, you click, they're going to give you a lot of them. And some of these I've never even heard tell of. But Chicago's one that you use a lot, APA, MLA. So there's different ones. Again, you would just choose whichever one it is that they would ask you to use. because you're going to find out something that maybe you've written papers already in college and you're like, or in high school, and you're like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. You're going to find out. So when a source is created, so you will actually will create your sources in Word, and this actually helps you to format your citations and to format your works cited and all of that. So when a source is created, it is saved in a document's current list and is available to use in a current document. It's also saved in a master list, which contains all the sources that were created in Word. So that'll be the master list will have sources in it from other documents that you've created, but the current list has just those that you've used in the current document. So to use the master list, you can click on Manage Sources in the Citations Bibliography group in the Research tab. You can copy, delete, and edit existing sources as well as create new ones. So you may find that maybe, like if you're using a computer, maybe at school, you may find that under the master list that there might be the one in there that you need, but maybe there was a mistake with it. So you can edit it and then you can use it in your paper. Or if you're, writing a paper and maybe you're using the same source again, the same book again, or same resource again, but in another paper. So they'll be saved in the master list, and then the ones that you're using currently will be in the current list. The current list then will be the ones when you go to do your works cited page that it'll use. And then when the bibliography is formatted according to the MLA style guide, the works cited is used as the title, as we've discussed. And note that sources are listed with what's called a hanging indent. So the first line is flush to the left margin, and then the second line is indented. It's called a hanging indent. And so we'll show you how to do that. Okay, footnotes and endnotes. So a footnote is a citation or note that appears at the bottom of the page. So sometimes you'll be reading an article or something, and it'll have a little number in the article superscript, and then if it says one, you'll go down to the bottom of the page, you'll find one, and then you can read the note that went with it. Now, an endnote is a footnote in the citation or note that appears at the end. So an endnote is just at the end of the document, and then it'll just be a section for all of them. Now, footnotes or endnotes can be used to further describe a statistic or statement used in a report without including additional detail in the text. You should never use both footnotes and endnotes in the same page. So you would figure out that you want to use, if you're using footnotes, you're just going to keep using them throughout your document. Okay. Or if you're going to do endnotes, it would be different. Okay. Continue. So we see here, this is an example of what a footnote looks like. And so I'm sure we've all read journal articles, or probably not a good example to give, but I know in a lot of Bibles, sometimes they have footnotes as well, either to different verse references or different things about that verse. So you'll see a little number like that or a letter like that. You go down to the bottom of the page, you see it. So for example, here it says, moreover, the list price of a Boeing 737-700 is close to 50 million, whereas a 747-400 is 200 million. And then you see that there's a one here. So superscript. So it's telling us then, if we go down to the bottom of the page, it says this statistic is obtained for the 2015 U.S. Air Transportation Log. So it could be just telling you that rather than including that in the text, they've done that instead. Create and modify it. Get footnotes again. Footnotes and endnotes are managed through the footnote and endnote dialog box. To display the dialog box, click on the footnotes dialog box launcher in the footnotes section of the references tab. So we see the references tab, and then you'll see here footnotes. You're going to click on this little button right here, the dialog box launcher. It's going to bring this up, and then you can specify then how it should be. Then there's some other kind of special features that you can use that Word can kind of help you to automate things that you might need in documents. And you've seen, or no, you haven't. Some of the students have already submitted part of their work. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, you guys have already seen it. Is the table of contents that lists headings and page numbers where they begin. So you can automate that in Word. An index is an alphabetical listing of topics covered in a document and a page number where that topic was discussed. And so you can do that. And also a title page or a cover page is placed at the beginning of a report. So to create a table of contents, you can click on the table of contents in the table of contents group of the references tab. Word provides a variety of cover page styles. Unlike many of the references tools, cover page is in the pages group on the insert tab and not in the references tab, because you could have a cover page for different things. And so if you wanted to do that, remember that to do a cover page, it would be under the insert tab. So whether in a college class or in the workplace, you are likely to seek feedback from others. This may be instructor feedback on a draft of a research paper, or someone reviewing your resume before you post it on the internet. Word has several tools that enable you and your reviewers to communicate and to suggest changes in your document. Your teacher can do this. Maybe you're doing in an English class, maybe a peer review. And so you send your document to somebody, they can mark it up, send it back to you. Markup is a Word feature that helps you customize how track changes are displayed in the document. The four views are simple markup, which enables you to see only the comments that you wish to see. All markup, that displays the final version of the markup with all markups and comments. No markup displays the final version of the document, but does not show any of the markups or comments in the original, shows the original version of the document and hides all markup. Now, a comment is a note, annotation, or additional information to the author or other readers about the content of a document. And so we see here that in simple markup, comments are indicated by balloons and edits are indicated in the left margin with a red vertical line. So we see the red vertical line here. That means that there was something that was changed here. And then we see the balloon here. We would have to click on the balloon in order to read the comment. In all markup, comments are displayed in the comment pane and edits are indicated at the point where they occur. So we see here that they took out part of this and then they added new words in. So we see the revision and then we see the comment and we also see who made the comment. You can also display the reviewing pane, which shows all comments and revisions in a single location. Track changes. Word's changes feature keeps track of all additions, deletions, and formatting changes made to a document. You can review changes individually, accepting or rejecting them, or you can accept or reject all changes made in a document. When track changes is active, revision marks indicate where a person has added, deleted, or formatted text. PDF reflow is a Word feature that converts a PDF document into an editable Word document. The converted document retains the intended formatting and page flow of the original PDF document. And so that can be really handy. The PDF reflow feature, that can be really handy as well. So if you have a PDF, you can actually import it into Word and then you can edit it. Okay, it may not come out exactly the same as the original, but at least the text all should be there and the images should all be there. And then you can, if you needed to edit it, you could. The various accept options are shown in this figure. These are similar options there are similar options for rejecting changes. So you could accept all changes and accept it and move to the next, accept all changes or accept all changes and stop tracking. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about OneDrive and about Word Online, but you're not going to do anything for your assignments. So OneDrive is a web-based storage site and sharing utility. We call it the cloud, which has been integrated into, and I'm going to say Microsoft Word 2019. OneDrive can be used to share documents with others, facilitating online collaboration, or as a location for backing up copies of your files. That's really important. And you also can then retrieve your files remotely. So let's say you were working on something at school on a computer in the computer lab, you want to then work on it at home. If you saved it in your OneDrive account through the campus, you can get to it then from any computer. So that's something that's really handy to be able to do. You can access your files from any internet connected device, including smartphones and tablets even. Windows 10 integrates OneDrive into the File Explorer to simplify the process of organizing and managing OneDrive folders, because Microsoft really wants us to use this. And so It integrates in there. You've seen it. It's available to you. Now, Word Online is a web-based version of Word, which you have access to through Office 365 through the college, with the necessary capabilities to enable you to edit and format a document online. Now, Word Online is free and available to you when you sign in to OneDrive.com, or again, for you as a student through the portal to begin a new document or to open a document previously saved in OneDrive. Now, one caution is if you're using the Word Online, there may be certain things that you want to do that you may not be able to do with it. And so that's why I'm telling you guys you need to download the Office and from the college, actually download it and install it, because you may not be able to do everything with the online versions. And then when we get to Access, there is no online version. So it's going to be a problem. So download it and you'll have it. Here, when you save a Word document, the default location is your OneDrive, and you actually then have to select. So you have the OneDrive listed here. You also then can choose this PC, or you can browse specifically then to a folder on your computer. Now this figure shows OneDrive that's accessed through the File Explorer. File Explorer treats OneDrive just like any other folder, except files placed there are in the cloud and not just on the computer like other folders. And they might be stored on the computer as well, but they're also stored in the cloud. So you see here on the left-hand side, you see here OneDrive, and then you see here then the file. So it operates just like, as long as you're signed into the computer through OneDrive, then you can see that, and you can use it just like you would any other type of storage on your computer. Now, everything that you place in the OneDrive folder in File Explorer is also made available in OneDrive with files synchronized wherever changes are made, either locally or online. If you synchronize files, then they are on both the computer and the cloud. As seen in this figure, you can select which folders are synchronized. So you can choose which folders you want synchronized between. And again, that may be helpful too. Maybe you're using multiple devices. That makes it easy. You can share things then among different types of devices, maybe a desktop and a laptop, or you can use that. In addition to accessing the OneDrive through File Explorer, you can also use the Windows to access the OneDrive folder using the notifications area in the taskbar. So you remember you have your start menu taskbar. There would be a little cloud icon here. And if it's not shown right here, you could click on this button, and then you can then see all of the things that are open on your computer. And it would be a little cloud icon if you're signed into it. As seen in this figure, you can also open a Word file on OneDrive, and then you have the option of editing the document in either Word or in Word Online. Share and collaborate with documents. So when a document is saved on OneDrive, it is available online, and you can share the document with others who have internet access. So you can share that file with anybody on the internet. Now, you can invite others to share your document with you when using Word or Word Online. You choose whether they can edit it or if they can just view it. So that's important. They don't have to necessarily have edit rights, but if you want them to be able to edit it, you can allow them to. You allow someone to automatically share or sync changes with you. If you do, there are three options for automatically sharing. Is Ask Me, which requires your approval; Never, which does not allow changes; or Always, which allows automatic changes. The steps for sharing a document are different depending on whether you're using Word or Word Online. Now, there are 5 ways to send a document using email. You can send as an attachment where everyone gets a copy of the original Word document to review. You can send a link. Everyone receives a URL link to work on the same copy that was saved in a shared location such as OneDrive. You can send as a PDF where everyone gets a PDF attachment of the original Word document, which preserves all layout, formatting, fonts, and images, and also can be opened on other computers that don't even have Word installed or on other devices. You could save as an XPS. Everyone gets an XPS attachment that also preserves all layout, formatting, fonts, and that. XPS, it's not as widely used as PDF, but it works very similarly. And then you can also send an internet fax. With this method, no fax machine is required, but a fax service provider is needed to send the document. You can also use Word to post a document to a blog. This is done by clicking File and then clicking on Share. And when you're sharing or collaborating in a document, Word's online real-time typing feature enables you to see where your co-authors are working in a document and what their contributions are as they type. Word can be used to present a document online. Attendees are online at the same time, and although they may be widespread geographically, the group can view the document and collaborate on the content. During an online presentation, the conference leader presents a document. Attendees can navigate the document independently during the presentation, but they're not going to be able to edit the document. So to present a document online, you can click on File and Share, and then Present Online, and then click Present Online. This figure shows presenter view with present online tools to control the presentation. So this is what, if you're the one that's hosting the presentation, this is what you would see. And then this would be what the attendees would see. They wouldn't have the option to do very much with it, but they can see the document and they can scroll through it. Notice that the attendee view does not include the present online tools. There's another document that I'll show you where it is in a minute here that I've given to you for doing APA. Since our book only talks about the MLA format, I wanted to make sure that you had the instructions to use the APA format if you needed to. I realize this says Word 2010, but just know that most of everything is going to be pretty much exactly the same. It just may look slightly different. So for example, I mean, it's not going to be the same color, but you're still going to have the same tabs and everything. So this gives you some instructions on specifically how to do for APA papers. Okay, so this ought to help you. So this was something I found online that should help you because again, I know a lot of students need to write papers in the APA format. So that just gives you a little bit of help of how to format. I'll show you where that is. So if we go to our modules, and if we go all the way down here to week 5. So I told you about that document for the APA format. That is listed for you under the week 5 module, under the lecture. So hopefully you've been going there because that's where these videos are being posted to as well. But you'll notice that right here I have a section, additional resources, and there's a link right here. So if you click on that, it's going to open up in Canvas directly to that. So yeah, so that link is right here, APA format instructions for Word, and if you click on it, then it's going to open up. So you can click to download the PDF document, to print it, or to have it, to save it on your computer, but you can also take a look at it here. So that's helpful for you. You have that. And there are several documents that you need to download. And again, just know that we're only going to do the hands-on exercises 1 and 2. So this is page numbers for 1 and page numbers for 2. And then these are all the files that you should be downloading. So let me go ahead and create a folder on the desktop. So to make a new folder, remember, you'll right-click on your desktop, new folder, and then we'll go ahead and call it Word Chapter 4. So then if we go back into Canvas, so what we'll do is we'll just right-click on these. Again, save link as. And then we'll go to the desktop, Word Chapter 4. So we'll save airlines. Do the same thing with analysis. White Heron. And entry. All right. Yeah, because it's PDF. Okay, cool. So we did that. So then we'll go ahead and minimize that. So if we go into our folder, we'll see that we have the files there. And then if we open up our textbook, which I showed you last week at the very beginning of class, so you can go back into the week 4 module and take a look at the video because it's the very beginning of that. I show you how you can request the book from the Merced College or the chapter from the Merced College Library. So if you still don't have a book that's one option for you as well, just to make sure. Try to kind of help you guys out because I know these books are very expensive and it's a problem. So I want to make sure you guys have what you need. So you'll go ahead and open up to page 346. Hands-on activity 1, research paper basics. So we'll open up the file WO4H1 analysis and we'll save it as WO4H1 analysis last first. Remember where last first is, you're going to substitute your last name and your first name. So we'll go ahead and open that up, WO4H1 analysis. And we can go ahead and say that we want to open this up. So now we're going to go up here to File. We're going to go, remember to Save As. We're going to go into our Word Chapter 4 folder that we've made earlier. And we're going to call this WO4H1 analysis underscore last first. So here we are. So now what we want to do is we want to go to the References tab. And we want to go to the Style arrow. So notice right here under the References, you have Citations and Bibliography, you have Style. Right now it's set to APA. We don't want that. We want MLA 7th edition. Now, if for some reason you should have that, but if you don't, go ahead and just use the 6th edition. But we want the MLA 7th edition. So we'll click on that. And it will ensure that the following MLA style is in place, adjusting anything that may be missing or incorrect. Well, we see that all of the text is at 12 point. We see that the font is all Times New Roman. And then the paragraph spacing for or after any paragraph. So that would be under the design, or layout, excuse me. We just want to make sure spacing before or after it's set to 0 points. It is. 1 inch margin. So to do that, again, under layout margins, we want to make sure that it's set to 1 inch all the way around. It is. Now, for some reason it wasn't, the option should be here for you to select that, or you can go to custom margins and you can put that in. Okay, but it is. And all body paragraphs are indented 1/2 inch. They all are. And that the report title is centered. We see that it is. So all of that is good. So we're ready to go ahead and start working on this. So the first thing we need to do is we need to insert a right-aligned header that includes your last name followed by a space and a plain page number. Make sure the page number is inserted as a field and not simply typed, and I'll show you that. So to get into the header, easy way to do it is just to double click. That gets you into the header. Now, I've noticed this, but I'll see if you guys pick it up. So we'll put in my last name and I'll put in, and then I'll go up here to insert, page number, and I want one in the current position, and I want a plain number. Now, can you tell me, is there something wrong with that? Anybody see what's wrong with that? If I go back to the home tab, maybe you'll see. And I saw my chat light up. Let me see if I can get back into the chat. Oh, okay, so you're not sure. Okay. Well, the first thing I see is I know that it says up here, I'm typing in Calibre. Do I want Calibre? No, because the rest of this is in Times New Roman. So I'm going to go up here, and I also see the size is also wrong. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on my font arrow. I'm going to choose Times New Roman. Now, if I haven't used it, I may have to scroll down and find it, but we've used it before, so it's right there. Also, I need to change the font size to 12. Now, one other thing is what would have happened if rather than going up here to insert page numbers, and then when it was at the current position selecting, what would have happened if I would have just punched in a number 1? Does anybody know what would have happened? Because see, now if I go on the second page, now it's page 2, page 3. What would have happened if I would have just punched in number 1?
The other pages would have not had numbers.
Exactly. Yeah, they all would have said 1 on them, right? So yeah, so that's important. And that's both of those are common pitfalls I see. Students don't change the font and the size, or they don't put in the actual page number field. They just type in their number one. And then they wonder, why do all my pages say number one? So just a hint, just wanted to point that out. And then right align, so I went up here, of course, and we clicked to make it right align. So, okay. So now step D, it says is to place the insertion point after the ending quotation mark and before the ending period in the Juliet notation. So to get out of the header, I can just double click on the document, and that's going to get me back into the actual document. And so if I find, yeah, it should be the first paragraph ending in staying about out of doors. Yep. So then what we'll do now, we want to put in a parenthetical. So it says that Sarah Oni Jewett's short story, A White Heron, centers on a few days in the life of Sylvia, and it goes on. So that was a quotation. Oh, right here it is. There never was such a child for straying about outdoors. So we're going to go up here to the References tab. Now we're going to click on Insert Citation. And we've never used this before, and we want to just go ahead and do it. So we're going to click on Add New Source. Then this box is going to come up. And so it says type of source is a book section. So we're going to click Book Section right here, type of source. And then we're going to have to type in. Now notice that there's this option right here. It says show all bibliography fields. You might have to click on that in order to see some of this. Okay. I don't think for this you will, but you might possibly at some point need to click on that. So it says for the author, it says what to type in there. And if I hit tab, that's an easy way to move through the fields. The title is A White Heron. Heron. And the book title is called The American Tradition in Literature. So it was probably from an anthology. Okay. The year is 2009. Page number 531 to 537. City's New York. And the publisher is McGraw-Hill. So I'm assuming she's writing this, and she probably was out of her literature anthology. She was using in her English class. So we've typed all that in. Oh yeah, and see, well, I was going to show you. We still have more we got to enter. So step E, it says to show the click on show all bibliography fields. We've done that. And then under editor, it says to type in there Perkins George. So he's the editor of the anthology. And we see that we need to click on the edit button next to editor. And we need to add another name. And so, because there was two editors. So the first name, her name is Barbara, Barbara. Oh, I guess that's all they want. A first box, and type Barbara, click add, click OK. So we'll click add. So there it is. Oh, I think that's wrong. I think we did it wrong. There we go. Okay. And so we did that. And then for the volume box, it's volume 2. Then we'll click OK. So notice now that it added the parentheses Jewett. So that is the source now. So now we'll click after the word firm and before click after step F. It says click after the word firm and before the ending period in Jewett's notation, ending in Sylvia's conviction of holds firm. So let's see where that is. So Sylvia's conviction holds firm. So we're going to click. Let's see. Here, I'll make this a little bigger for you. So we're going to click right here. Then we're going to go up here now. We're going to click on Insert Citation. Notice now that the Jewett is a source available to us in the list, so we can just click on it. So that inserts it again. Now we'll place the insertion point at the end of the quotation mark before the ending period in Hovet's notation in the second body paragraph, ending in functions that are also present in a white heron. So it's in the second paragraph. There we go, right here. So we're going to click right at the end, the ending quotation mark there before the ending period, and then we're going to go up and we want to add a new source. So we're going to go up here to under references, insert citation, at new source. This time, the type of source is going to be a article and a periodical, and another be like a periodical would be like a magazine or something like that. So then we'll go ahead and type in our author, Hovet. Theodore R. And then the title is going to be Once Upon a Time. Sarah Orne Jewett's as a fairy tale. All right. And then the periodical title is going to be Studies in Short Fiction. And the year is 2011. The month is going to be September, so we'll put an abbreviation for September. The day is going to be 25, and the page number is going to be 63 to 68. Now, we're going to click on this Show All Bibliography field. It's going to open up some more. And for volume, we're going to type in there 15, issue 1. Then we'll click OK. So notice then it's going to add it right there. So now in step I, it says to click on Jewett's parenthetical citation in the first body paragraph. So it was right here. Now notice if I click on it, if I click on the citation on the arrow, it says to edit citation. So I'm going to click on that. Then this other little dialog box is going to pop up. And under the page number, we can type in the page number. So 532. So what that is telling us that in this book that she wrote on page 532 is where we looked at. Okay. And that's required by the MLA format. So now we'll go ahead and edit the next citation in the first body paragraph. Same thing. So edit. This time what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and type in there 537. Now we'll click on the only Hovet citation in the second paragraph right here. And we want to go to citation options and edit citation. And then this time what we want to do is we want to suppress the author, the year, and the title. And we want to put in there page 63. So it's just going to show 63. Because and the reason for that is because you've already mentioned the name of the book already in there, and he's the author of it. So you put in there 63 because you've already mentioned the book in the source in the text. Then we can save the document. So always a good thing to do that is to save the document periodically. So now we're going to go on to step 2. Now that the sources are cited and they're stored in the document. We can quickly insert the bibliography at the end, and you'll also explore the sharing of sources. You can use figure 411. So first thing we want to do is we want to click on Manage Sources, again under References, Bibliography, Citation Bibliography, Manage Sources. So we see the master list right now. Those are the only two that are in there. And then we see the ones that we've used on here over here for the current. So they just want us to see that. So then what we'll do is we'll hit Close for right now. Then we're going to hit Control and End on the keyboard. That's going to take us to the very end of the document. Then we're going to hit Control and Enter. That's going to go ahead and insert a page break, put it on the last page. So then what we'll do is we'll go under the bibliography and a bibliography group. We'll click on that, and we'll go down to the one that says Works Cited. So we'll click on that. There it is. So it inserted our Works Cited page. So bibliography is always included on a separate page at the end of the document. Therefore, we inserted the page break before adding bibliography. Bibliography includes the heading Works Cited and the two sources used, although you may have to scroll back up to see them. Okay, so now step C, it says on page 349, it says to drag through all of the text on the Works Cited page. So we're just going to click, hold the mouse button down, drag through. And then what we want to do is we want to change the line spacing to 2, Home tab. So Home tab right here under Paragraph, we can select the line spacing, make it double spaced, so 2. You also could hit Control 2 on your keyboard as well to make it double spaced. And then they want us to go ahead and make sure under the Layout tab that before and after spacing is set to 0. And also we'll go back to the Home tab. We'll make sure that our font is set to Times New Roman and it's set to 12 point. So now that adheres to the MLA standards. Oh, and center and remove the bold also, I was going to say. So we'll remove the bold from the word Works Cited, make it center. So perfect. So that's pretty neat. I bet, that's something that maybe you hadn't seen that before, that you could insert your sources really easily that way and then create your Works Cited page, very, very easily. Now, notice here just something to note before we move on to step 3, which is talking about creating and modifying footnotes, is make sure that when you're typing in your sources, when you are in your references and you're typing in your sources, make sure that you are typing them in correctly, properly capitalized. I noticed on one of the assignments for when we were doing some data entry of names and addresses, I noticed that there was one that they didn't have everything. They just typed everything in all in lowercase, and that's not right. So, because whatever you type in here is what it's going to pick up when you are doing your citation. So for either your parenthetical or when you're doing this. So just that's something just to be kind of mindful of. So now what we can do is we can save this document. We'll click the X, we'll close it because now we're finished with that particular document for now. So we'll turn that in at the end. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and open up the file called W04H1 Airlines. And again, it may take it a second to open. There we go. And we'll hit Enable Editing. So we'll play a little bit with this document now. So now what we'll go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and we want to resave it. And so we'll go again up here to File, to Save As, get in our Word Chapter 4 folder, and we'll go ahead and call it W04H1 Airlines again, last first. And there we are. Then what we want to do is under the editing group, we want to go ahead and click here, Select, and then go ahead and hit Select All to select all of our text in the document. And we want to make sure that our font for everything is set to Times New Roman. So we go up here, we select Times New Roman, make sure all of our text is set to 12-point font. And we want to make sure that our spacing is all set to 0, and it is. And we also want to make sure that everything is left aligned. So we're good. We've done that. Now we can deselect our text. So if we flip on over to page 350, this time what we're going to do is we want to find a certain portion in this. And so under the editing group, we're going to click on Find. It's going to bring up this navigation pane on the left-hand side. We want to find where it says 200 million. And we see it looks like they've actually already put it in there for us. So we're not going to insert it again. But if we were to, we would go up here again to our References tab. And then we would click Insert Footnote. We would be able to do that. We're not going to do that because it's already there, okay? And then we'll go down to page 4. Oops. And it looks like this one's already there as well. We'll go ahead, it says to click on the dialog box launcher, click on Insert, okay. You could do it here. But it looks like it's already there, so I'm not going to have you do it again. Okay, so now it says click on the footnote at the bottom of page 4, click Style, choose Modify, change the font to 10. So we'll click on, right click, oops. So right click, then go to Style. So we'll right click on the footnote, we'll go to Style, and then we see the footnote text. We want to click on Modify. We're going to change it then to 10 point. And then we'll click OK and apply. So notice now that we've changed that, so now on all the footnotes are all going to be the same font. Then we'll go ahead and save the document. All right. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and create our table of contents and an index. So we'll hit Control Home. That's going to take us to the very beginning of the document. And then we'll hit Control Enter. That's going to go ahead and give us a blank page. So we'll click we'll go back to the beginning of the page, and then we'll hit the Enter key twice. And then we're going to go up here to the References tab, which is already selected. This time what we'll do is we will click on Table of Contents in a Table of Contents group. So right here, and we'll choose Automatic Table 2. And there it is. So that then is automatically generated, because what it is, these are styles, and that's how come that was able to be automatically generated. So then we'll point to the statistical analysis link, and then we'll press Control click. So you'll hold down a Control key and click. So under situational analysis, we'll hold down the Control key and then click. So if we Control click, then it takes us there. Yeah, it takes us there. Then we're going to change, for situational analysis, we're going to change that word to call it data analysis. So then if we go back up to the beginning, you're going to click click in the table of contents, hit update table, and update the entire table. Click OK. Now it'll change it now to data analysis. Okay. So that's how you can change headings if you need to, but you have to make sure to click and update table. Okay, otherwise it's not going to pick up the changes that you made. And then we'll go ahead and click on the problem statement link. Again, Control click to move to that section. So under problem statement, We'll control click. That's going to take us directly there. And then what I want to do is I want to find where it says Northeast Airlines. So right here. So we'll select Northeast Airlines. And then what I want to do is click on Mark Entry. Under the index, click on Mark All in the Mark Index dialog box. So we'll click Mark All. Now you'll notice that it made this little entry here. And so that'll tell you then that it added that to the index. Hit close. So you mark the phrase Northeast Airlines for inclusion in the index. By selecting Mark All, you've instructed Word to include a page reference to the phrase anywhere that it occurs in a document. And then we'll select the words Northeast in the sentence beginning. Northeast operates solely Boeing 737s. So we'll choose the word Northeast. And then we'll go back up here to, let's see, we'll do a cross-reference. So we're going to go to the index group, select cross-reference, mark entry. Okay, I'm sorry. So it's mark entry. And then, okay, that's what we should have clicked on. So we're going to have the word Northeast selected. Again, under index, we're going to click mark entry. This time we're going to click under options. We're going to click the bubble that says cross-reference. And then after the word C, we're going to type in there Northeast Airlines. And then we'll go ahead and hit mark and we'll hit close. And so because you refer to Northeast Airlines throughout the document as either Northeast or Northeast Airlines, you cross-reference so that it appears appropriately. So then we're going to go ahead and go down to page 4. And this time what we want to do is we want to mark the first word on the page, which is code sharing. Right here, code sharing agreement. So we'll, as an index entry, so we'll go ahead and select code sharing. Go up here to mark entry under index, code sharing, current page, and then we'll hit mark all. So that anywhere that code sharing is displayed. Then we'll hit control end. That's going to take us, so control end, that's going to take us to the end of the document. Now what we want to do is go ahead and insert a page break. So we'll hit control enter. That's going to give us a page break. And now what we want to do now is go up here to under index. We want to insert index. And then we'll just go ahead and click OK to insert the defaults. And so you've inserted an index, so code sharing, and then Northeast, see Northeast Airlines, and we see the pages then where we either referred either to Northeast or to Northeast Airlines. And then we can go ahead and save the document. Step 5, we want to create a cover page. So as a final touch, you create a cover page with information related to the report's title, your name, the course number, and the current date. So what we want to do is want to go back up to the very beginning. So we'll hit control home, then we'll hit control enter. That's going to give us a page break. So we'll go ahead and click at the beginning. So this time what we want to do is we'll go ahead and click on the home tab, and then we'll go ahead and do center alignment, and we'll set our font to 16. And we want to make sure that the text is set to black. So we'll click here, and it already, or black text 1. So we did that. So then we'll go ahead and type in case study of Northeast Airlines. And we'll press enter. Then we'll go ahead and press enter 3 times. And I don't know where it says to click numbering, type your name, all that. I don't think we need to do all of that. So we'll just go ahead and type in your first and last name. So for me, it would be that. Then we'll go ahead and press the enter key 3 times. Type in their bus 240. Dr. Rebecca House as the instructor. And then we'll type in the current date. So you can say February. Okay. And then just make sure that the text is not bold or italicized. So we've done that. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we want to go ahead and click on the layout tab and then click under the page setup dialog box launcher layout. Okay, let's see if this will work right. So we want to make sure to set the vertical alignment to center. And hopefully this worked okay. We want it to apply to this section. But see, it looks like it's going to do it to all of it, which is not what we wanted. So if we click back, it said what you want to do is you want to insert a page break, but it should be as a section break. So if you go up here to breaks, make it a section break. There we go. And then delete that. So then what we can do is click there, go back up here to, and then there we go. Because what you want is you want the first page to be centered, but you don't want the rest of it to be. So you can insert a page break next, a section break next page instead. Okay, so now we're done there, and we'll hit save. And then that's the end of that. For right now, we'll go ahead and we'll close out of that. Go ahead and flip over your book to page 360. And so this one is hands-on exercise 2, which is dealing with document tracking. And so it says to first step A under step 1 is to open up W04H2 White Heron. And there it is. So we'll go ahead and enable the editing. And this time what we want to do, we want to go ahead and resave it. So we'll go up here to File, Save As. Again, save it to our Word Chapter 4 folder. And we'll save it as W04H2 White Heron underscore last first. All right, so we went ahead and resaved the document. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Review tab. And this time we're going to go to Simple Markup Arrow. So right here, Simple Markup Arrow. And we want to choose All Markup. So now it's going to give us, we see the changes that were made. We see the comments that were made there. And then we'll go ahead and choose, go ahead and put it back into the simple markup mode. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and open up the right reviewing pane. So reviewing pane arrow, we'll click on that and we'll choose vertical. And so that, so that puts it right here. We can scroll through, we can see all of the changes and all of the comments that were made. So we'll click on the red vertical bar, step D, to the left of the first body paragraph to view all of the edits. So if we click on the red, you can see all of the edits there. Point to the first comment balloon. I click the red bar again to hide it. Then we click on the first comment balloon. We see the comment. Click the comment balloon again to close it. All right. So now step E, it says we'll click on the third comment balloon, which is right here. Note that you need to add a citation. So we'll go ahead and click on the close button. And this time what we'll do is we will, before the period, we'll click after the quotation mark and after the period in a sentence in the last paragraph of the first page. So we'll click right there. And then this time we'll go ahead and we'll add a new source. So we're going to go back up here to references, insert citation. We're going to click add new citation. This time it's going to be a book section. So we'll click on that. And then we'll type in there the author. And then we'll type in there the title. And then the year we'll type in there is 1994. City is New York. And then we'll type in there the publisher. All right. And we'll go ahead and click OK. So now it added the citation. We'll go back up here to again on that first page. We will click on the second comment balloon. And we'll click before the word although in the sentence. We'll type in there, it says although racked with guilt. So we're going to click before that. We're going to type in there, she is too tenderhearted to give up on the Heron family to the hunter. Period. Press space bar. So then we'll go ahead and click on the first comment on page 1. And then we'll point to the comment text and then we'll hit reply. And then see page 1 on the right side of the instructor's name. So we see that. And then we'll type in there, please check my revisions. Period. And we can go ahead and close the comment. And we can save and close the document, but we're going to keep Word open. So we're going to go up here to the Save button. Now, instead of closing out Word, we're just going to go up here to the File menu, and we're going to hit Close. And that just closes the document. Word is still open, but we're going to keep this open. So now we're going to learn how to work with a PDF document. So now you're ready to finalize the paper. Your instructor has let you know that you must include an entry form with the submission. You're not on campus, so the instructor has emailed you the form as a PDF document, and so you'll convert the form to Word and then go ahead and edit it. So if you go on over to page 362, we're going to go up here to File. We're going to choose Open. And then what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to hit Browse. And then it opened up to Word Chapter 4 since we've been working there. But if not, you can go to wherever you're saving your files. So for me, it's Desktop 4. Now notice there's this file. Has a different icon because it's a PDF, and it's W04H2. We can do that. Now you may have to change this right here to say to open up all, change the type of files to PDF. You may have to change that. It's going to, if you don't see it, but it was set to all Word documents and it recognizes it as a Word document. So we'll go ahead and click OK. Notice now that it's going to, your computer is going to kind of look like it's frozen, but it's thinking. And then a box is going to pop up. It says that Word will now convert the PDF into an editable Word document. This may take a while. The resulting Word document will be optimized to allow you to edit the text. So it might not look exactly like the original PDF, especially if the original file contained a lot of graphics. So we'll click OK. And it takes a moment, and then it's going to go ahead and open up. And there it is. And then the same thing, we got to hit Enable Editing to be able to edit it. So there it is. It just took a PDF document and it made it into a Word. There we go. Okay, that was weird. All right, so there we go. So now we can actually go ahead and edit this. So the first thing that we want to do is, so we're not ready to resave it yet. We'll do that in just a minute. So we'll click after the date. We'll type in there today's date. Okay. For name, you can go ahead and type in your name. Sponsoring instructor, you can type in there Professor Abbott. College class, I know this may be kind of hard for you to understand. Freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. So since you guys were at a community college, I would just say you type in there either freshman or sophomore. I'll go ahead and say I'm a sophomore. University email, you can type in your school email. And then for report title, you're going to type in there an analysis of a white heron. We did that. So now what we'll do is we're finished with this. We want to go ahead and save it now as a PDF. So we're going to go up here to File. And we're going to go down here to Export. So we're going to click on Export. And it says we want to create a PDF or an XPS document. That's what we want. So we'll click on Create PDF or XPS. And then it's going to automatically just make sure that you're in your correct folder. So then we're going to call it W04H2 entry and then last first underscore last first. Click on that. We'll hit publish. And then what should happen is once we click on that, hit publish, it should open up the PDF so that you can view it. So if you have Adobe Acrobat Reader installed, it will open up that. If you have, it may just open up a web browser or the Windows PDF utility to view it, but you can view the PDF. All right. So then we'll go ahead and close the PDF document. We'll close the Word document. It asks if we want to save changes, and you can. There's no reason why you don't need to, but you can. And that's it. It says not to save it, but that's okay. All right. So now the next thing that we want to do now is we want to track changes and accept and reject changes. And that just very quickly is step 3 on page 362 and 363. So go back into our files and we'll go ahead and open up again our W04H2 white heron last first. So we have our paper that we've been working on. And now what we want to do is we want to go over here to the review tab and we want to go ahead and click on this and click all markup. So we'll click and choose simple markup, make it all markup. Then we can click anywhere in the sentence you add to the first page. She was too tenderhearted. So we'll click on that, and we'll click on the reject arrow. So we'll choose that, and then we'll go up here, and let's see. So under accept, we don't want to do that. So reject the red. We'll hit reject let's see, just click on reject change. So we put that sentence in there. We realize we really don't want that sentence. So we'll go ahead and click on it and then hit reject change, removes the sentence. And then what we'll do is we'll click on the accept arrow, accepts all changes and stop tracking. So we'll click accept. Then we'll say accept all changes, stop tracking. There we go. And then you've successfully moved all changes and deleted all comments. Delete all comments right here. So delete, and then you can hit this delete all comments in the document under comments. So there's that. And so now what you can do then is go up here and say no markup. That takes you back just to the paper. And then you can save your file and close it. And then what you can do then is go back into Canvas, and you can go ahead then and submit your files that you'll be submitting. So we'll go ahead and click on submit files. We'll browse. So I want to go ahead and insert the W04H1 Airlines last first. We'll go ahead and do that one. We'll also go ahead and submit W04H1 Analysis last first. And we'll submit, browse. We'll go ahead and submit entry. So W04H2 entry. And we'll browse and we'll go ahead and insert W04H2 White Heron last first. So you should have W04H1 Airlines, W04H1 Analysis, W04H2 Entry, and W04H2 White Heron. Again, all the edited documents that you did. And then we'll hit submit. And again, it might take a second to upload depending upon your internet speed. So just hang tight and then you wait and it says submitted, and then it will show the documents that you've turned in. And that is the end of the hands-on activity.